I have done plenty of disaster saves on my channel. I'll often get emails from people who are in 3 or 4 wars, maybe with an army 1/5 the size of their enemies, asking me to save their game. You know, been there, done that. However, today we have something truly special. We have a situation where a realm was so poorly managed, it's at threat of collapsing from negative gold income. For this video, Norwegian fan of the channel Peter has sent us quite a prompt. Long story short, Peter was playing as a tribal Norwegian character and made the decision to switch to feudal too early. I feel like this is a classic trap that a lot of new players fall into. And I mean, I get it. Playing tribal, you're on top of the world. Buying men with prestige, going on raiding adventures, taking land away from feudal realms with your numerous battle advantages. It's a good time. But like all good times, they can't last forever. Peter realized his research was significantly slower than the rest of the world, and he thought the only way to fix this was switching to feudal, a mistake that brought his game file into my gloved fingers. So now that we know what happened, let's hop into Peter's game and see what we can do to fix it. Okay, so here we are in Peter's game, and well, you can see it's a really classic situation going on here. Peter has adopted feudal ways just a little bit too early. So you can see if we look at their income, it is definitely in the red right now. You're 500 gold in debt and making negative 7.6 gold per month. But now that you are actually a feudal realm, you need to pay gold for all of your men-at-arms, and you do have a lot of very powerful men-at-arms, meaning you can pretty much destroy any kingdom in the game right now at this point. The only problem is, when you're in this much debt, you can't even declare war to get any more land. The first thing we're going to be doing here is trying to turn this gold positive and get out of debt as fast as possible. Now, there is a cheeky thing you can always do if your character's a little bit older. You could attempt suicide, and what this would do is kill your current character, and debt doesn't roll over, so this negative 500 gold would go away, which is really nice. But the thing is, you can see here, your dynasty decreases its level of splendor by 1, and I just feel bad doing this in somebody else's game. Like me personally, I would not care if he dropped from noteworthy to insignificant, but you know, maybe Peter, he's been building his family this entire game. He doesn't want to see them turn into an insignificant family. So instead, we're just going to try to get out of this debt the good old-fashioned way by completely fixing your economy. Normally, the first thing I would do when I see somebody in a lot of debt is have a look around at what land they hold, and you're holding okay land. Like your capital actually is making good gold. It does have lackluster administration though, which is something that happens when you're in debt. You can get this, I don't want to call it a perk, but you can get this modifier to your counties where you can see you're going to be losing 1 control per month here, and control is directly related to how much tax you make in this county. So you can see, because we're at 94 control, we're actually losing 5% of the gold out of this county. So to remedy this, I'm going to instead take our marshal off of manage royal guards. Instead, we're going to put them on increased control in county because we want to get rid of that modifier in here, because this is where you're making all your money. But other than that, we are holding the upland county, which is a really good one because it has this special building, which is making you some pretty decent cash as well. And then finally, you are holding in England, which is, I guess, what you had went into this huge debt doing, is declaring war for this one piece of England.
What did it cost?
Everything.
So those are the 5 counties you hold right now. 5 counties, you know, not the most, especially considering you're already an emperor, so you're only getting +1 from your stewardship, which is really low.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
If I were to change my wife from patronage, which increases your learning, to manage domain, that would actually bump us up 1 domain. However, considering you just went down to Crown Authority 1, I can't even revoke land, so it doesn't even help us to go up 1 domain limit. Or it's not even like I could build, you know, a new castle in our capital. Like here, I could probably build a castle if I had money, but we wouldn't. But we don't have money, so that's also not an option. However, you do see it did raise our income a little bit. I think we were at -7.6 and now we're at -6.8 from that increase in stewardship. So we will take that. But the real kicker here that is making you negative is all these court positions which you have hired. You can see you're losing 9.3 gold from paying people to do all these jobs, and sure, some of these can be really important, but a lot of these other ones like court artifactor, you do not need these. Even these bodyguards, really not that useful, and you're paying 0.8 for both of those positions. What I'm going to do is go around to our court positions and fire anybody who is making 0.8 gold per month. Alright, so there you go. We have brought our gold income up to 1 a month, which I have to say is pretty decent. There you go. So this perk on our capital just went away, as you can see. So now I'm going to move this person over to Yoverick because we're going to get much more value out of increasing the control here, considering the control is at 0. And you should see our gold maybe go up to 2 or 3 in the next little bit of time. And we're going to burn this negative gold off pretty nicely now. You can see you're currently educating, well, you're educating this grandson for no reason. Like this guy, there's no chance you would ever play as him. So we're going to remove that. And then you're also educating this guy here, who is your son. So, you know, it's noble of you trying to teach your son. But realistically, there are a bunch of other sons who are in front of him in terms of succession anyway. So we don't really need to educate him either. Instead, we're going to go to the player who is your current player heir, and we're going to go to their son because this will be your next player heir down the line, and we're going to educate him because we want to have a choice in both his education focus as well as his traits. So right now he has zealous, sadistic, and pensive, which are really good traits. He is also strong and comely. Our grandson looks really good for us to play as, and we're just going to want to make sure he gets the education he needs. So the other thing we're going to be focusing on doing down here is, well, fixing your research. That's something that you said was pretty dire in your situation, and I'd have to agree. The problem with your culture is you made a hybrid culture with the Sami people, and that was good, but unfortunately you spread your culture way too much. So now if we look at the average development around these areas, you can see we got places in here that are like 4 or 5 development. So even if we are able to get our capital up to like really high development, which right now it is at 12, which is pretty decent, our research speed will still be really slow because it's getting weighed down. It's getting weighed down by the average development in all those other counties that have really low development. The only way we can really get out of this is to create a new hybrid culture. However, you can see, I think your problem is you just created a hybrid culture recently, and you actually chose to take practice pirates, which is the cultural tradition that lets you raid. So I see that you thought raiding would be your answer to get back into positive gold, and you wanted to go for that. But because your culture has spread so much, it actually makes this really, really long to establish. You can see 35 years for this to establish, and then this culture itself was created in 943, so we're gonna have to wait 50 years after that to actually create our new hybrid culture. But once we do that, we'll try to keep a small culture, maybe just in our capital for now, this capital county, or we can maybe spread it to like these 3 places, and that way we can have really fast research speed. We can rush and get a few things in the early medieval era, which you are slowly unlocking. It'll be unlocked in 21 years. Then we can really kick this game into next gear, because you can see we do have some cool things, like you're holding the Temple of Uppsala right now, and this actually is upgradable once you get manorialism, and it gives you some pretty decent benefits, including development growth, piety, some really nice stuff. So having playing a feudal Norse game can still be powerful. Like you do have this cool church building in your capital, giving you a lot of money and tax. It's just you have to really commit to that. And I can see you had set your mind more on the warfare route.
Oh boy, here I go killing again.
Which is definitely fun, but when you do eventually want to change over to feudal, it can cause problems. I'm here to fix those problems, you know, the ck3 doctor is in. In order to consider this game saved, we are going to want to create our new hybrid culture to get the research speed up for our friend Peter. We are also going to want to upgrade the Temple of Uppsala because that's kind of like a cool thing to do to prove that your empire is growing very nice. And I think I'm going to try to actually hold Yoveric also, because we can build another Grand Temple special building over here. So we'll go for a 3 duchy hold here. Yoveric, this Norwegian duchy, and then Uppsala. So once we get the culture hybridized and those 3 counties held with all their beautiful special buildings created, pumping lots of gold into Peter's economy, I will consider this game saved and we can send it back to him so he can go back to doing his historical conquest of maybe England. I think he said he wanted to do France too, so we'll get him set up nicely so he can do that. Ooh, so right there you can see I did a couple things. I changed our focus from domain focus, which gave us +3 stewardship, because we don't need that extra domain like I talked about. And now we're actually making 4.9 gold per month from that, from having wealth focus. I also picked up this perk right here, which makes your vassals pay you a little bit more money. So that bumped our vassal tax up, which is actually accounting for about half our economy right now. We're making 5 gold per month right now. Very nice. We should get out of debt pretty easily with that. And there you go, guys. So we have went into positive gold. What that means is our army actually wasn't replenishing because we didn't have enough gold to pay our military. So they're going to start replenishing now, which will actually put us into more debt. So I'm going to turn off the monthly reinforcement for right now. So we definitely still need to get our gold income up a lot in order to support this beautiful army that you have created. At least we're not sitting negative, so we can start upgrading some things like we can start at least upgrading some things like getting some more buildings in some of these counties we own, which will just help further get our gold income higher and higher. So I actually just got a couple pop-ups where I gained a decent amount of gold. So I think I have enough to actually go ahead and create in just a couple months. I will have enough gold to make this beauty. What? Oh no, we don't have crop rotation. Well, I do have a lot of money in the bank, I guess. So what I'm gonna do is just let my armies finally replenish to full, which you can see has just happened. And now we are still gonna be making 9.2 gold per month, which is extremely healthy. So now that we're making all this money and I don't really have any immediate thing to spend it on, I'm waiting to get moats so I can make more castle holdings in some of the counties I already hold, because I do have room for 2 more domains. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to pump a few development buildings around my territory so I can make a trade ports in the city in my capital. And that's going to be good value because the mayors normally make guild buildings, this other building over here that gives you +5 development growth on their own, but they won't normally make the small harbors if they have a chance. So by building that there, I won't get direct money from it because I can't hold cities personally, but what it will do is affect the development growth in the capital. But I'm also going to go ahead and build a trade ports down here in the temple in my capital, so that way I will be getting, once the guilds and trade ports are done here, trade ports down here, I have a trade port in the capital. That's going to be a 20% boost to our development growth, and the more we can upgrade those buildings, just the better it's going to get. I think I'm actually going to do a war down here in England for the rest, well, for another piece of the Yoveric duchy, because I do eventually want to hold this personally. This guy's pretty weak right now. If they actually create England, they might become pretty strong, so I might as well take as much land as I can in the moment.
Stop! You violated the law. Pay the court a fine or serve your sentence. Your stolen goods are now forfeit.
Of course they have a holy order. I've seen that coming. It says we probably will still win, considering we have like more than 3,000 of these beautiful either Varanian veterans or Huskarls men at arms. But I'm raising some extra levies just in case.
Then pay with your blood.
Oh yeah, and look at that. It doesn't even look like we would have needed these extra levies, but we'll bring them in anyway. So it was close there at the end, but we were able to win. And that actually gets us another county. Right now we can hold 8, which is pretty good. We have a new perk in the Dynastic Legacy, and I am so happy, Peter, that you went and put all the hard work in picking up these first 3 perks in Pillage, because the 4th one, Making a Killing, gets you 5 gold per 100 casualties. So like if we had this in that war, we would have just made so much money from it. But maybe actually we can declare war on Kent over here for the, I think, last county in the Yoveric Duchy, and I'll show you guys exactly what I am talking about here. All right, so here comes this army. You can see they have 7,000 men again, probably because yep, they called in 5,000 holy orders, but our 2 stacks of men at arms, as you can see here, is just going to be way too much power for them. Let's see what happens. They're going to attack over a river as well, which is just a little bit silly of them. And there you go. You can see in that battle we got 3,000 kills and we made 181 gold from that. So if we can actually attack them on these hills, you can see they're going to get a -30 in the advantage modifier, which means we are doing about 96 more damage in that battle. And so we stack wipe 1,000 men and get 65 gold from it. Pretty decent money. And we should be able to catch this army here as well. Ooh, get another stack wipe, another 170 gold that time.
I've come for your pickle.
And then the final army, final stack wipe, 80 gold. So you can see just from picking that perk up, we were in this war where we probably would have been losing like 30 gold a month, but instead we actually should end up coming out of this war with more money than we went into it. And there you go, we get 100% again, but I'll actually go, you know, I'll go for one more cheeky little stack wipe there against those guys for 44 more gold. And now we can enforce our demands. And we have picked up the whole Duchy of Yoveric, which will actually be a decent place for us to hold, considering it gets us to 7 of 8 domains. And there is also a secondary castle domain over here with a crop fields already built. So when we finish getting the control up here, we can then start increasing it in the leads, and then we'll just be making way more money. I think I'll probably actually switch off of stewardship for now and go authority focus, because we don't really need to be making that much money. I do have buildings to make and stuff, but it's not that valuable for us right now. So I think authority focus is going to be good, and then we can pick up serve the crown whenever we get the chance to get even more control, and that'll just help some of these other counties where I'm not increasing the control, like Leeds. You can see it's going to be going up by 0.6 on its own, which is actually pretty decent. Actually, when we pick this up, it's going to be going up by 0.9 now. And then, you know what, I'll go back over here and hire one of these guys, which will now be gaining us 0.2 more control per month. Ooh, so I just got the infirm trait, so it looks like our character will be dying soon. Our succession is a bit messy. We actually will be losing the county of Upland, which is where we're making a lot of gold, to this one of our grandkids. He's going to get Sweden, Pomerania, and Upland, which is a bit disappointing, but at least we get to keep all of our Yoveric counties as well as our capital here, where we're making the most money. So I think it'll be okay. We can try to wrestle Upland away from our vassals a little bit later when we have everything sorted out. So here, like I said, in the city, we finished the small harbors, but you can see the mayor himself has went ahead and built the guild halls for us, which is really nice. So now we have 4 development increasing buildings in the capital, and you can see all that effect being taken place right here. So in like 30 more years, a little bit less than 30 more years, we can create a new hybrid culture. I think I'm going to make one with these Anglo Nordic culture. You can see our acceptance is at 9%. It's already going up by a little bit. And then, you know, we can exchange some of these nice things. They're already in early medieval, which is nice. Maybe they'll actually pick up manorialism and we can steal that tech from them, which would be huge actually. Okay, there we go, guys. We just died. We're gonna be playing as our son. You can see his domains dropped to only 5. We can remedy that by breaking off our betrothal with this child, which I am not too sure why we married her. We can instead marry this lady, who will lose us a decent amount of prestige, but you know, it's gonna be worth it for picking up more domains, which is entirely necessary. So that gets us up to...
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So that gets us up to 6. I guess we have to go for stewardship and go domain focus in order to get to 8 of 7 at least. And that'll be good for now. We'll eventually be able to pass limited crown authority, meaning we can revoke titles away from people. That'll be good because then we can start doing things like holding these secondary castles that we have in some of our lands. But I think we also inherited a couple of counties up here in the north, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really need to hold. So we can just grant this away for now, just to make sure we're at 7 of 7 exactly. And hopefully once this penalty goes away, that'll then turn us into the gold, into positive gold income again. I've noticed you built these walls and towers buildings pretty much in all of your counties. And although they are aesthetic, I am like a walls enjoyer. They're not that valuable, especially not that valuable if you're going to have like 3 counties all with walls and towers. You know, if you're going to build a castle up here in the mountains, which I honestly think I'm going to do, but if you're going to have like a castle in a mountain, then like go for it. You know, build these forts, build the watchtowers in it, get the defensive bonus as high as you want, so you have like a really strong tile that you can just stand in and let like tons of men come in and you just totally murk them. Not the most useful if you're going to have it in 3 counties that are all right next to each other. So instead in like Oslo, let's say, I'm going to switch this building over here. I think it's way more valuable for you to actually pick up barracks. It gets you 125 levies as well as those heavy infantry damage increases that we're talking about. We've already increased our heavy infantry damage all the way to 16 when we started at 0 at the beginning of this game. You know, just a few optimization things like that could be valuable as well. So it looks like we will be dead within the year. The only good thing is we only have 1 son, so he's going to get all our land. We're going to have a very simple transition of power, and this guy, I have to say, looks really good. The only problem is both his sons don't have any good traits, even though him and his wife have like each of the good traits here, so a bit of a bummer they didn't get passed down, but it's gonna be a good time playing as him. He has 18 stewardship, 25 learning. He'll actually be the character which we get to create the hybrid culture with, so we should be able to get some very quick researches off with him towards the end of his life. Okay, we died. That is okay though, because we get our son's gold, and actually we can go ahead right away and construct this grand temple only for the low price of 700 gold. I do like that. It's gonna take 5 years, but we should be able to get that down. 1, if we hire a royal architect, that'll lower it by 20%, meaning this is just gonna take 4 years now. And then if we go down a stewardship focus, let's see, yeah, that will bump us up 1 domain. So we're gonna go stewardship domain focus to go up to 9 holdings. And what else are we holding? I think he did actually hold Iceland, which we don't really need now. So we're gonna grant this whole thing away, I think, to whoever this guy is.
Good too.
There you go. Now we actually have room to hold 1 more domain, so we can go ahead and revoke this extra barony that we have in Yoverick, which has these nice crop fields here. Looks like we will have a faction to install my uncle on the throne instead of me. I'll try to get rid of this, but worst case, I think we should be able to fight it off. Okay, so here comes the faction. So yeah, they have 13,000 men. Not the smallest faction I've ever seen, but definitely not the biggest. We do have 10,000 of our own with like all the juicy men at arms. So the only problem will be if this war really drags on, we will be going into debt. Oh baby, so they're all attacking me on this tile here, but I have defending in mountains because there's actually a castle that's part of my domain in this war. They're just gonna all run in here, and I think I'm gonna get a ton of kills, which is gonna make me a lot of gold. You can see I got 95 gold from that. Oh baby, and the rest of them run in there also, where I killed 3,000 men, getting me 177 gold. I was literally going into debt right before those battles, and now I do not have to worry about that anymore, as well as giving me a pretty healthy amount of war score. Okay, so I think this war actually just helped my economy. I'm pretty sure we have more gold than when we started this war, and I was spending like 20 gold per month on keeping our troops up. So that's pretty funny. We've also got a lot of these naughty vassals who rose up against us in our jail now, so we can go around and revoke their titles and then redistribute them as we see fit. Okay guys, so I redistributed some of my land. I actually granted the Kingdom of Denmark to this guy who is trusting and content, so he should be a pretty big fan of us. I got rid of Iceland too, granted it to a new guy. And Sweden I actually granted to my nephew, who is a trusting person as well, except we ended up keeping the county of Upland here for ourselves, and that will get us a little bit of a penalty with him. You can see he wants the county and duchy of Upland, but considering we just gave him a whole kingdom, he should be pretty happy with us for a while. And you can now see we own Upland, which has the nice Temple of Uppsala building, so we're making a whole 4 gold out of there. We're making almost 6 gold out of our capital now, and because we have, we're almost done. 3 months left until the Grand Temple in Jorvik finishes, but once that finishes, which I'll just wait to do.
Silence, wench.
When that finishes, which you can just see it did, this gold will be around 3 per month also, meaning we are now making a total of 16.3 gold per month from our nice 3 duchies, which we're going to try to hold for the rest of this game. Man, I love recruiting these military commanders from the peasants who rise up against me. Every time after you finish a war with them, you should try to recruit the commander. Often they have really good prowess and martial ability, like this guy. He's going to be a perfect commander for us, and you can go ahead and recruit him and even demand their conversion at the same time. So now he cannot rise up against us again because he is of our religion and working for us. Also, since we got crop fields, which is what let us actually build this beautiful temple building that's totally eclipsing my castle in Jorvik, that also lets us upgrade the rest of our economic buildings in all these counties. So I'm probably going to go around and just do a nice round of upgrading on all these crop fields that I can build in my lands, because those are incredibly powerful buildings. Okay guys, so you can see we finally embraced the practice pirates tradition, which is going to let us give us the ability to raid, which I think I'm going to test out right now. The big benefit of raiding is that people can't call in allies to protect them. So you can see some of these kingdoms around us, even France, which has 11,000 men, they can't call in holy orders to save them from raids, and they can't call in their alliances to save them from raids. We could pretty much invade every single one of these places, like south of us. Even in England we can raid, and it's a great way. Like, let's say if I did want to invade somewhere like France, for example, who has almost 12,000 men, if I do a raiding adventure against them, you know, raid some of their land, they come and attack me, I can easily weaken them so that they can be easier to take down in the future if I want to invade them with an actual war. But now that we've kind of like fixed your realm, you know, we got the economy booming, we're holding all the pieces of land we want, everywhere has high control, I think it is time to go on some beautiful raiding adventures. The best part about this whole situation is you can see if they do raise armies to try to stop us from raiding them, we can run our army into them, beat them down, and then we make more gold from getting stack weights against these armies. We are just going to be making a crap ton of gold. Alright, so just like that, you know, we pick up a cute little 134 gold in that army, 179 gold in that army. We deliver them back. We will lose a decent chunk of prestige from these raiding adventures. That's kind of like the one downside of getting that raiding perk. We now have 838 gold in the bank, and if we wanted, you know, we just raided like a tiny part of the northern portion of Germany here. We have like all of this area of France we could raid next, or even maybe some of these areas like down here in England, you can see this one county has 75 gold because it is where the Canterbury Cathedral is. And then what are we going to do with that money other than pump it right back into our buildings in our counties? I picked up the perk that actually lets us get speed discounts. So you can see we're making things really quick. 3 months for a trade port. We love that. So we can just go around and literally upgrade the absolute crap out of our land now. And we do have all these tier 2 farms and fields finished, which you can see actually brings our gold income up to above 20 per month now. And there you go. So again, we just brought in another around 600 gold from that little raiding adventure, this time taking, you know, just the pieces around Yoverick. Alright, so enough time has finally passed where we can create a new hybrid culture, and I think what I'm going to go for is the Anglo-Nordic culture. It's like the easiest one to do. We could have done some like finagling in order to make one maybe with like the Dutch or something, but actually the Anglo-Nordic culture is pretty decent because they have two early medieval innovations unlocked already, which is like on par with some of the big boys like France and even better than like Germany and stuff like that. So that's going to be pretty decent because it means we're going to get manorialism and royal prerogative for free, and manorialism is a really valuable innovation, and considering it takes us 40 years to research right now with our current culture, getting an early medieval innovation for free is really valuable. And then traditions, I'll keep malleable invaders in case Peter wants to create another hybrid culture down the line. I think I can get rid of herds because we can keep coastal warriors, which gets you all the same benefits as herds, except this actually loses you 15% for your cultural fascination progress. And finally, I'm actually going to pick up seafarers also, which lets you build trade ports early, as well as lowers the embarkment costs and allows you to sail down major rivers, which is going to be really helpful for raiding actually. With this perk chosen, we can actually raid down a lot of these really big rivers like in France and stuff like that and pick up loot from all these places without taking attrition damage. And there we go. We are ready to form the hybrid culture here. Oh, so actually it looked like a lot of places have actually adopted our new culture instead of it just being a one county culture. But I think the average development will still have increased compared to what it was before. At least we have manorialism now. I'm going to go for battlements next because that'll let us upgrade all of our military buildings. And you can see we actually shaved 10 years off. When it was taking 40 years before to research mangonels, now it'll just take 31, and the average development has increased. And the thing is, now that the culture is smaller also, we can really focus on increasing the development in some of these places that are really low, like some of these counties that only have 5 development. So unlocking manorialism also is good because it lets us get a economic duchy building. I'm going to go for, I think the tax building, it's just so powerful to get plus 10% holding tax because it applies in all the holdings in this duchy. So not only is this going to apply in this county, but it's going to also apply where we have the stave church, which already has a holding tax for things in this county. So everything in our capital county, where we do have this secondary castle, which is actually making decent gold, even though it's in mountains, is going to start getting boosted by 20% in terms of their tax. So just very nice to stack those benefits. Okay, and actually, I just had a nice pop-up where I got some more gold, and we have enough to upgrade the Temple of Uppsala. Going from tier 1 to tier 2 gets us an extra gold per month, more holding taxes in this whole county, more development growth in this county. We're going to pay for that upgrade. It's going to be done in only 8 months because we're getting so much of a discount for that. So that's really another of the big benefits of creating that hybrid culture. We get to pick up manorialism for free and, you know, pick up those duchy buildings, pick up the upgrade on Uppsala there. And in the future, I think what I'm going to do, but you can change this if you want, Peter, I'm going to promote our Norse, Anglic, Sami culture in this county because there's going to be getting so much of a benefit in terms of development growth from the Temple of Uppsala that I think it's just going to be really good value. It also has a city with guilds and trade ports, getting it more development growth. And we can even construct a new city over here or a new castle if you would want to get all of these nice gold bonuses to stack even further. And also, this is making 5 gold, but it's only at 5 development. And you have to remember, tax is directly related to the development in that county. You can see it's getting plus 2% from the development, which is really low. But if we go to our capital, we're making 6.6 tax, and we're getting boosted by 7% because the development is 15. All right, so checking this notification right here, you can see we have finished the new Temple of Uppsala, the upgraded one, the cathedral, and it's too bad they don't have a little 3D model for that. I thought they would have that. They don't even have one for the Stave Church in the capital. With that built, you can see our tax in here went all the way up to 6.62, and honestly, this game, we have hit all the conditions we wanted to hit right in the beginning. We've fixed the economy. We've got the second tier Temple of Uppsala building built. We have our duchy buildings built in our capital now. The economy is good. Our military is extremely strong. You can see we're actually getting plus 30% damage in all of these great heavy infantry units you have built, because we've kind of tweaked some of the buildings in your domains to get like these barracks buildings everywhere. Upgrading them to tier 2 is probably a good idea. I have tier 2 in a lot of places as well. Even our succession, we have 2 sons right now. This guy who has decent traits, and then our younger son who actually has comely and robust. He is on a learning education right now because I know you want to have fast research speed. And our research speed, although you can see it does take like 30 years from 23% to research right now, that's only at a 47% chance. So if you were able to get a character with really high learning, which honestly isn't too hard, you can get this up to 100%, and then you'll be researching these texts, in around 15 years per innovation. So hopefully you'll be able to keep playing this game, Peter. I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching the video, learned some things, and as always, I will be seeing you in the next one.